with each of those and to sort of squeeze it shut. So make sure that it's the feeling of sensation of yawn a little bit without being woofy. Let's sing. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Turn to measure 49. The last beat of measure 49, beginning with the E major chord. For this, hi, Kitty. Rachel's not singing much. She's still recovering from Disneyland. That's the story, and she's sticking to it. Measure 49. 2, 3. Crescendo marks in, and we will not crescendo at the end, we will actually soften. The spiritual nature of the Renaissance was much more internal than we are used to, you know, the showing your heart on your sleeve business. That was much more pious and internal. Once again, measure 49, B4, a cappella. Not too loud. 1, 2, 3. First soprano. You're one person down, give you a little more first soprano to match, to equally match the second soprano sound. Once again, 2, 3. For this is in measure 51, echo what you have just done, or were you completely unaware of that? It's true that they should be listening to you as you sing that melody of that motive, and you don't have to listen to them in order to do your job, but really, in terms of the score, you should be aware of what's happening, including what happens after you. Once again, would you sing it this way? For this, 2, 3. For this is for this again, that was nice. Say, for this. For this. And you love it. For this. 2, 3. For this is the and you should take the leadership in measure 61, like I've asked the altos previously. So mark something at the bottom of the previous page, that big fat rest you're looking at, like something like turn the page, dummy, and sing your part. Altos, one's very nice at 57 and 58. They're a little flat on the D natural on B4, alto ones. Put an arrow under the D, get it up to pitch. It's a D sharp, I'm sorry. God, measure 57. sharp is in the key signature report. Thank you. Here we go again at 49. You sing it half as loudly, except for those parts that I've asked to sort of lift it up. 2, 3. For this and 54. Now the editor put an odd tempo in there, but again, Bird would have never written that in. This is a faulty score. Scratch that out and just make sure you stay right with me instead of ahead of me. Once again? Yes.
The alto ones are really struggling with our timing.
Measure
50. 50 and 51 were
50 and 51?
52.
51 and 52.
It's the dot over the bar.
Well, the dot becomes an eighth note. So, you may hear first altos play their part, pick up the 50. First altos. 2, 3. Now, first of all, some of you miscounted the dot at half note, and that's a big, fat, easy thing to fix. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Breath. So it's 4, start on beat 6, 4, 5. Yeah, you see the dot is an eighth note. Write it in if you like. Once again, 4, 5. You should start the word Israel with a light glottal, like this. For is. Maybe even put a little space before Israel. Everyone, did that help?
Yes.
49. By the way, that was a case in point. Whenever I welcome your questions, start with a measure number. And then make sure you, of course, have the right number. Measure 49. Not 40, just 2. 40. And 40. First round's a little glottal too on Israel. Everyone say Israel. Israel. So it's not. This is what is that word? Where is Israel? 4. It's not for Riz. For Riz. I can't say it. For Israel. It's for Israel. Say it. For Israel. A light glottal to begin the word Israel. Again.
On the word Israel, do you want it Israel or
Israel? Israel. It'll come off a little diphthongy and it'll be okay if it's Israel. Okay. 2, 3. For this what that gives us is 2. For this is felt it in 1, 2, 3, 4. Quite good. Altos, a little louder in measure 43 because you have to move the eighth notes, and that's very interesting. And then we get to this lovely ending. Are you listening to each other, echoing the motives? Good. Listen more. Measure 38. Even softer. 2, 3, 4. So when you sing your entrance, if they sing even in the, your rhythm should be matching them. Not only do you have a motive which is the same or similar, but eve in the time, so that the rhythms are exact. Once again, at 38. 2, 3, 4. Even more detached and more marked. Not necessarily louder, but more marked. Alto 1s in measure 46 and 47. Very detached, very rhythmic. If I can't hear the rhythm, it doesn't exist. And then the rhythms in 48, those of you who have them, very outspoken, clear. The way you do it without singing loudly is to sing them slightly marked in a little accent. Measure 43. 2, 3, 4. I don't hear you dropping that dot. I just hear it gumming together like old linguini. Once again, it's 43. 2, 3, 4. Give us a B. Just sing your part first alto. 1.
And toffee stay.
I think you need to, before this, the A sharp in 47. And toffee. See, I even put a space. Take your pencil and mark a line between the tied. There's your tied B. Don't sing the tied note. Yeah. Everybody again, measure 43. I could not, that part didn't exist on that last performance.
It's really low.
I will. Yes. I agree, but you are not 16-year-olds any longer, so the hormones should be working in your direction right now, right? 43. 2, 3, 4.
For
rests. Rests are evil. Rests make you forget what you have just done. They're like a canyon out there someplace. It's so far between this ridge and that ridge that people sometimes fall down into the canyon and get lost. Measure 29. This is the fanfare.
Right on 29.
29 B3. 1, 2. Blow the trumpet in the new moon. Okay, so the way he set this up is, by the way, we're missing Sean. We don't know about him. He hasn't notified you.
I will double check.
Somebody who's got an email or.
I got it. I'll look.
She'll do this. Okay, measure 29. What I wanted to say was, the first entrance, there are 4 voices singing.
Oh, that.
Okay, if you're with me now, there are 4 voices that are singing at 29. At 31, only the entrance is only second soprano and second alto, and you have to work harder at that. I'm sorry to say. It has to be, again, heard. And the rest of you, go ahead and pull back just a little bit after you've made the initial part of your announcement to welcome our guests. Here we go at 29 B3. 1, 2. Blow the trumpet in the new moon. We now have the balance. Listen and tweak it a little bit more. Tweak it a little bit. You maybe don't have to sing it as loudly at measure 31 as you did just this time. But what you did was quite nice. Alto 2, you were flat. In measure 34, when you got to the, I wasn't sure you knew you were singing D sharp. It's like I forgot there's a sharp in the key signature. So it goes from E, E, D sharp. Do you know that that's a half step? You're aware of that?
Sure marked.
Yeah. Okay. Once again at 29, B3. And one bass did blow. Did such a nice blow. That was you. Star for quick scram. Here we go. 1, 2. Blow the trumpet in the new moon. I don't know what you did on it. But the word is, say it, new. It's a little goofy if you stretch it out, new, but that's it. New, listen to me, new moon, say it. New moon. And when you sing it, you won't do it nearly that strongly, but it would be nice if you did a little blow. Now, let's do it together. That is the same amount of BL for everybody, but not too much from certain people. 1, 2. Blow the trumpet in the new moon. with the letter D. The letter D is a pitched consonant. B, b, b. If it isn't pitched, it's a P. So if you sing blow, the way to fix it easily is to put a sub or superscript M. Blow, blow, blow. Do that 3 times. Blow, blow. Write a little M, and it's easier for you to put the M on pitch followed by the B on pitch. No one will really ever hear that M, and if you start sounding like you can hear him, then you can just take it away.
In measure 13, the crown line is almost identical to what we have on measure 44 and 45. We want it detached as well.
Yes,
Right?
when we look at 44 and 45. Oh, yes. That dot can be dropped and an 8th press put in place. Beginning on do. 2, 3, 4. Pickups are these indiscriminate, amorphous rhythmic units. Here we go. 1, 2. 1, 2. Good. Now I know what you're doing. You're singing the end of the whole. So when we begin at a place like that, it's better to just make your next entrance. Don't worry about that. That's good. 1, 2. Alto 2, the measure 27, beat 4. Altitude 1, 2, 3. No, so the tight note across. 1, 2, 3. 2. Almost right. 2. find your music, you may stand. Say this as you get your music. Crucifixus. 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 And even though in Latin we would not be perhaps as explosive with cru, go ahead and sing it a little bit, as in the wounds, you know, the nails through the hands. Just a little, I'm making it a little bit too 19th, 20th century, but I'll let you do that. Here's a new clap. 3, 4, 1. Play with this. So you think at the beginning, think la, do, mi, do, la, in C minor. 3, 4, 1. Do, la, do. Flaps. Oh, I guess that doesn't really work out that way with one flat. I think it's C minor because it's a C minor chord. Don't think solfege. I know you weren't. For bass. Now it's notable that the baritones start on the same note that the bass is started on. But the rest of you take the pitch from the third note of the previous voice, except for the soprano ones who do what the baritones do. You imitate the soprano twos for the first two notes, right? You're aware of that. You're missing your music? Do we not have your music? We're trying to keep you from singing? You're just missing this music. It's just this music. It's just this.
It's just
I put a set of music with one later.
What is this from?
Crucifixus. I'll tell you. Just take the crucifixus and give it to the listener. The dog aged.
I have it. I practiced it. It's on my piano probably.
That's probably on your harpsichord.
So hard.
Or is he going to? Okay, she'll figure it out. 3, 4, 1. Imitate. Alto 2, you were completely shocked by the E natural major 6. Is that because it's on a different page?
Yeah, and start.
Okay, once again, bases. 3, 4, 1. Wow. 3, 4, 1. See the move. Right, baritones. Can you do that better? Now, if you wanted to be a friend tonight to these guys, since Sean's gone, you could make the entrance with us since you're standing next to him, and then jump to the second tenor part. Okay? 2, 3, 4, bass. Thank you. right, the F sharp, the vowel, E, because you're still, well, almost a half step flat on the F sharp. Some of you are, not the whole crew. Wow, first altos. The last note measure 6 was a wild guess, mostly wrong. It's a perfect fifth down. I think that's actually an easy note for you to fix. Once again, sing everything on do. 3, 4, 1. Why don't we get a better unison right away, guys? It's really a mystery because eventually you are going to have to start this piece. So we might as well put the screws on now. 3, 4, 1. Now see, the problem is the letter D is a pitched consonant. But we already know a cheating trick, a little sniveling trick, to put a little N in front of it. Everybody sing new. Wow! Did you notice how some ladies got down to it? You know where the pitch is singing? Okay, now see if the guys can do it. And 1. Good enough for now. But usually you get that pitch. It's his fault? It's his fault. Yes. You see, now, this piece is all about what we call suspensions. Now, suspension has a preparation, a suspension, and a resolution. And we're all taught that in music theory, and we think we'll never find it in any music, but here it is in living color. So everyone sing the bass, if you're a 2, if you're a soprano 2, alto 2, whatever, sing the bass 2 part. If you're a 1, sing the baritone part, bass 1. So here's the E flat. Just sing it a couple measures and then I'll tell you something about it. And 1. Occurs as the basses have begun the G in the second measure, and it's tied. It's often a telltale sign, even if you're not reading the notes above or so on. The basses are tied across to a quarter note. That G quarter note is the actual suspension. The G before it is the preparation. The G on the downbeat of measure 3 in the bass 2 part is the suspension. Put an S under that note. And the F, E, F is really a complicated resolution. So I'll give you a G. So you're singing, nothing's happening, but in the third measure, the baritone goes, and that's where you have your dissonance. You're holding on to the G, and they come do, very important. So you're the other part. It takes 2 to tango, so you provide the dissonance. So they have prepared the way, preparing the way of the dissonance. So you put the dissonance on, and then you resolve it. That's how it is. Mark that measure in the bass and the baritone part with the letter P for what? I'm sure you thought it was Paul. Preparation, S for suspension, R for resolution. All right. Not reconciliation, but close.
Dr. Reeves?
Yes.
So to prepare for crescendo
Yes.
and resolution.
Typically now, that's the step. As soon as you are aware of the fact that you are preparing, you lean into, and musically that means you crescendo into the dissonance. And then kind of relax it as you resolve. So do that and listen to see what happens. Acapella. 3, 4, I'll do 1. Double it. Well, okay, but some of you, baritone part, you weren't singing the right rhythm. And there's another suspension in measure 4, where the basses are preparing, singing the F natural. Give me an F, yes, go, and above we have the A flat, which is the whole step above your F, and there we get, again, a suspension. Double the parts, come on, here we go again, 2, 3, 4, 1. But you didn't really crescendo that F. I didn't hear you build that F. It looks innocuous. It doesn't look like it's important. But unless you crescendo that note, we don't get this harmonically. You know, like a wet rope being twisted until it's just, you know, all the water or the blood or whatever has come out of it. Do it again. Listen. Lean forward into the distance. 2, 3, 4, 1. So let's look at a couple more, because once we get the idea set, you're going to do this 15 to 20 times in this piece, and it's going to be spectacular. So look at the second tenor part. You can already see, and the second tenors already know this, but they have a D, the whole note, tied. There's the giveaway. It's a tied note. Not always does it happen across the bar line. Sometimes your suspensions will happen in the middle of the measure, but this again happens there across the bar line, and the tenor ones have an E flat. Okay, so all the 2 parts sing tenor 2, all the 1 part sing tenor 1. Here's an E flat. 3, 4, 1. Alto 2 and alto 1. So now, all right, why don't we just do it? Everybody on the second part, sing the second part. Alto 2, everybody on the 1 part, sing alto 1. And 1. You know what you're doing? If you're a bass 2, you're singing alto 2. If you're a soprano 1, you're singing alto 1. Got it? Okay, nothing new under the sun. Alto 2, 1. Good. So alto 2s have figured out that A natural, at first you struggled to find the pitch. You don't need to begin it loudly, but you need to crescendo it into the tied half note, because actually the entrance of the second soprano is what does it, and then if I look down, there's a bunch of other stuff happening actually. That measure is quite complicated, and I don't want to speak to you about that entirely. Let's go to measure 7 and 8. Do the same thing starting with second soprano. Everybody double. And 1. That's 8. Correctly, if that's your role. Now stand and sing that on your own part. Sing crucifixus, sing the text. score. Could you hear some of this happening? Did you forget one? You want to try it one more time and do a better job of smoothing the corners? You realize how really bad it would look if I actually conducted the crescendos in each of these parts? This music really shouldn't be. I could do that, and it looks silly. People would pay attention to me instead of listening to this incredible open. So basically, I'm not going to conduct it all this time, and you're going to sing with it. This is the chamber choir, not the Mormon tabernacle. 3, 4, 1. Wow, we're going to give you a second shot at that. 3, 4, 1. Those are eighth notes on the page turn. Put a note to yourself on the previous page. Something like eighth notes, stupid, or something. Eighth notes go twice as fast as quarter notes. Here we go. Page 4. 3 and 4. Did you hear the dissonances, or were you too panicked about the rhythm? There are scattered throughout. If you want to look at my color-coded score, I've got every single dissonance suspension marked. I know where they are, but I want you to sing them. I want you to listen. I want you to hear the tensions ebb and flow. Here we go. Measure 12, 2, and 3, and 4. A bad pitch basis. 2, 3, again. So the problem is we're getting no pitch on a K, right? Unvoiced consonant. The R is a pitched consonant. So after no pitch, we get ooh. After that, it's very complicated. Simplify it. It's everybody sing ooh 4 times. See how you didn't hit the first one? See if you can do it 4 times, everyone on the bullseye. Now do this. Go. Yeah, because is the wrong pitch. Is the right pitch. Do this. I think you really have the consonant to put the roll R on the pitch. Basic. 3 and second tenors and first alto. 3 and 4. Crucifixus legato as you sing eighth notes. Beads on a string. 3 and 4 and. Good. The people who blew the pitch were the sopranos, not the basses. Smile. 3 and 4 and. Beads on a string. 1. I have made a decision, I don't know if I said it last rehearsal, we will not sing number 2, so don't rehearse it anymore at this concert. Measure 19. Maybe next fall we'll do the whole set. Who knows? Stand when you have your music. Measure 19. Okay, electrifying. Measure 19. Two, three, four, 1. Fast now, conducting for my part. Do it again. 3, 4, 1. So this note should have a crescendo written on it. Write a crescendo on it. Begin at least mezzo forte and crescendo it. 3, 4, 1. Should be crossed off and an eighth rest put there. So that you light on the word is. It's like this. She is. It's like pouncing on a little mouse. Your fuzzy tiger cat lies awake. Pounce. Say it.
26. Held at the top of 26.
26. You have, for the sopranos and altos and basses, you should shorten it a little so that you can get it's a root. But on tenors, they have entirely different part. 3, 4, 1. She is the sky of the sun. She is the dawn of love. She is the love of my heart. She, 25. Speak the text and approximate the volume, but don't go for 14s. Measure 25, speaking. 3, 4. She, 2, 3, 4, 1. It's a room. She is up. She is up. She is up. So your eighth note, sopranos, at 29 is you're singing it. You're late getting off to the second eighth note. So cross it off. You have your eyes are lazy going from the top of the page to the bottom. That's what's really happening in addition to it. It's a trap. Alto's much better. Do it again at 25. 2, 3, 4. She is the truth. She is the Good. Tenors, your syncopation in bar 28 is very lead-footed. Separate. No lead foots. Do it again, 26, 25. Basses, you can begin at 25 too this time. 2, 3, 4. She, 2, 3, 4, 1. It's so true, it's so true. She is so true, it's so true. She is so true, she is so true. She is so true, she is so true. She is so true, she is so true. She is all of the women of the race of Eve as the sun is all of the moon. So you have this crescendo molto in 32, forte, allargando, standing, please. Measure 25. It's the groove. A little more light-footed. 2, 3, 4. She staccatos that you have written should be shorter. She, it's much shorter and lighter and detached. Measure 25 again. Could you begin louder and diminuendo more markedly? Smoothly. 3, 4. She. Short. So the question is 29 staccato or not? Not. It isn't. So again, if you have staccato, sing them. Otherwise, it's she is Arun, she is Arun, she is Arun. Those are more legato. But the other ones are it's Arun, it's Arun. You get 29, it's all different. 25. Can you sing me a bigger forte? 2, 3, 4.